Good evening, crafting friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Simply Stamping Sunday. I am here live. This isn't for those of you who are joining me this evening, I am live. It's not a replay. I am, let's see, a week, 2.5 weeks out of surgery. It'll be 3 this Wednesday, and I see my surgeon then, so I'm hoping to have some of the restrictions lifted, and I especially hope the staples will be out. I have 17 staples going up my back, and I would really like those to be taken out. I think I'll be a lot more comfortable. So things are going as well as I think I can be expected, and hopefully I'm just going to continue to get stronger every single day. So I'm really happy to be here live, and I'm really happy to be able to share week 4 of Spotlight on Nature. I know on my Facebook page I posted that it was a new month. For some reason I was thinking today was July 1st, not June 30th. So we're into week 4 of Spotlight on Nature, and next week we'll start a new month. So let's review. So first, here's the Spotlight on Nature cling stamp set. This is probably my favorite stamp set out of the catalog that went live in May. I just love it, and I've had a lot of fun with it this month, sharing it with you and creating some simply stamped cards. So let's just have a little bit of a review of what we have made this month. So the very first week we made 3 simple, just stamped cards, as simple as it can be, and used some of the different images, and also used some of the some stamps from another greeting set. And then we focused on, I believe this was week 2, we focused on adding some designer series paper to our cards, and created some really beautifully simply stamped cards. I love these, especially this one. That was one of my favorites, so I love that one too. And then last week, if I've got these right, so I apologize if they're out of order, we did some stamping on designer series paper and created these 3 really fun cards with that. Did a lot of fussy cutting with some butterflies. I think we fussy cut 6 butterflies because we put 1 on the inside of this card. But I loved all of these cards as well, and I loved using the bright colors with the butterflies on this one. So tonight we're going to stick with our this month we've been doing a lot with the in colors, the new in colors, and I'm going to be using the in colors tonight, but I'm going to share with you tonight a couple of fun folds. And this is the first card we're going to be creating, and this fun fold opens like this. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be doing. So let's first start with what we need for paper, and of course I printed out a cheat sheet, so let me just grab it. So we're going to start with a piece of 4 1/4 by 11 inches of Summer Splash Cardstock, and we're going to fold this in half, and then we're going to take our paper cutter and we are going to cut 2 pieces off one end. It doesn't matter which end. The first piece that I'm going to cut off is a 1.5 inch piece. And then I'm going to cut off a 2.5 inch piece, I believe. Let me just make sure from my notes before I just go and do it. Yes, 2.5 inch piece. We're going to save both of these pieces for the card. And so then our card front is going to look like this with just this little flap. This is going to end up being the flap at the bottom of the card, and this is what's going to hold it all together in the middle. So we'll set that aside to talk about what else we need. For basic white cardstock, we are going to need a piece that measures 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to need 2 pieces that measure 1 3/8 by 4 inches. We're going to need a piece that measures 2 1/4 by 4 inches. And then we're going to need just a scrap strip that's 5/8 of an inch wide. And this is going to be for our greeting, but it gives us some room to do some other things on it. For our designer series paper, we are going to need, excuse me, 1 piece, and I'm using the Unbounded Beauty designer series paper. This all coordinates with our new in colors and just has some beautiful patterns, and like I said, it has all of the new in colors in it. So we're going to be using that tonight for both cards. So the larger piece that we're going to need is 2 3/8 by 4 1/8. We're going to need 2 pieces that are 1 1/4 by 3 7/8. And then we're going to just need a scrap. It's a 1/2 inch a 1/2 inch by 4 inches. So that's what we need to make our card. So I'm going to just turn over my cheat sheet so I can use this while I'm doing some stamping on this piece right here. And I'm going to do some stamping on this piece as well. So I'm going to start with taking this little, it looks like a scratch, just a bunch of lines going across. I'm going to be stamping in a background, but I'm going to be stamping off, and that's why I need some scrap paper under me. So I'm making a monochromatic card here with just Summer Splash. So I am going to, So I am going to be creating a background using this, and I'm going to stamp off and then stamp back on. I want this to be very light, and the Summer Splash ink is not a super deep, heavy ink, so it's easy to make this background. And I'm just trying to fill in some of the spots. And I did a full color one. Can you see that? Good thing paper has 2 beautiful sides to it. Let's try that again. I don't want it to be that dark, so I've got to remember to stamp off first. So we'll just come back. And do this again. I can't tell you how many times I use the back side of a piece of cardstock. Okay, so that part is done, and now I'm going to take the leaves and I am going to ink them up in full strength with the Summer Sun, and then I'm going to just stamp this onto the front of the card. And there we go. And because I stamped so light, you have this beautiful background, but you have the main image just stands right out from it. So there you go. All right, I am going to do some of the same thing on this piece of paper that I'm going to be using for my greeting. And I'm just going to do it really lightly. There we go. And I'm going to take Dear Friend, and stamp it towards this end. There we go. Put this ink away. And I am going to trim this. And then just create a little bit of a flag. Oh, I didn't trim that very straight. There we go, that's better. And we'll just make a little flag banner here on the end. And there we have our greeting. All right, let's put this card together. Okay, to start with, we've got a lot of attaching of all of these little pieces. So the inside is this larger piece of basic white, and I'm just going to add that piece to make just a little element at the bottom. I would want this most likely as a note card for a friend. So I might write a little message and then include a letter with the card. Maybe I would turn it into a birthday card. I like to not commit myself when I'm making all of my cards. If I don't know what the card is for, then I definitely try to do my best at not stamping a greeting. So this piece here has 2 layers it's going to go on. It's going to go on a piece of the Designer Series paper and a piece of the Summer Splash. So I'm just going to add some adhesive. I have to say I haven't stamped for a little while, and I feel it. I do well sitting as long as I don't have to sit in one place for more than, I don't know, 30-35 minutes. Okay, so there we have the front flap. And then on these, we're going to add our pieces of Designer Series paper. I wanted to really pop out the white that's in this Designer Series paper. There we go. And I didn't want it to just be strictly a, look at that, I put it on the wrong side. Okay, that means we gotta cut another piece. That's what happens when you're not paying the closest of attention and you're talking too much. So this piece was 1 1/4 by 3 7/8. So cut a 1 1/4. And then a piece by 3 7/8. And let's try that again. There we go. All right. So one of these pieces is going to go right on the top of the card. And I'm going to show you how we're going to add the other piece. Let's get this centered on. And this is going to go on this piece here. So like I said, this is just a really easy fun fold. There's lots of different ways that you could do this fun fold. You could put a piece of a window sheet in between. You could put a piece of Designer Series paper. however you'd like it to be. So this piece is going to go right down here, and then this is going to be centered on these two pieces. So what I'm going to do first is add my adhesive to the top of this, and I am going to center this onto the card. That looks pretty good. Then I'm going to add my adhesive on the bottom part, and I'm going to put this right to the edge, making sure it's lined up perfectly. And then I'm going to bring this down, and there we have it. That is our first fun fold for tonight. Let's just add the greeting, and we'll be 100% done with this one. So I'm at the end of this sheet of dimensionals, and I try to use every little piece there is. So I always cut the edges and turn them into other dimensionals as well. Alright, so let's get those pieces off, and this is going to go right down here, and that is our first fun fold of the evening. Very easy to make, and I just love how, you know, changing this up by cutting the section out, it just gives you a whole brand new different type of card. Okay, our next card that we're going to make is going to use the Petunia Pop. So it's another almost monochromatic card. This one has a piece that's cut out of it, but you can see that we don't add anything to the bottom on this one. So they're similar, but a little bit different. So what will you need for this card? You will need, let's start with the Petunia Pop. So you're going to want to have a piece of 4 1/4 by 11, just like our last card, and you're going to fold it in half. And then out of one side, you're going to cut a piece that's 2 3/4 inches off. You're going to keep this piece because it is going to make that panel on the front of your card. You are going to then need for your, you're going to need a piece of basic white that measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and we're going to take one design, and these again come from the Unbounded Beauty Designer Series paper. This one measures 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm just going to add some adhesive to this and add it, center it on this piece of basic white, and then this is going to be our inside layer. And I'm going to center that right in here as well. There we go. That part is done. For this piece up here, you need a piece of 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. It's going to fit right here at the top. Right here. And then we have a piece of Designer Series paper that measures 4 by 2 1/2. That's going to fit right on top of this. So I picked one of the designs that had some, that featured the Petunia Pop, but also had some other colors, because that allowed me then to be able to add a little piece of the Summer Splash cardstock that I used in the previous card. Some of the Summer Splash Designer Series paper, that is. So this is going to go right on to the front. There we go. Now, this piece of Designer Series paper measures 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. And it's going to go on to this piece of Petunia Pop that we cut off of the front of the card. And then this is just going to be centered on the front of this card. So I'm going to add my Stampin' seal and then place this right on the front of the card. I'm just going to center that. And then finally, we need 2 pieces that are the same size of basic white, and they are 2.5 by 4. And one of these is just going to go inside the card. I'm going to center this, but I am not going to push it all the way down. Just want to make sure it's nice and straight and make sure that my flap is going to cover it before I push it down. So there we have that. So now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. I am going to do the same thing to the background that I did with the first card that we made. And I just have to find where I placed the background stamp. I want to just clean that quickly before I use it because it does have the Summer Splash ink on it. So I'm just going to put some cleaner on my pad, clean it, dry it, and it's ready to go again. All right. Now, to create this background, the Petunia Pop, as you noticed here, is a very dark color. And so I have to go really light-handed with this on the background. So I am going to actually stamp it, and I'm going to stamp once, twice, 3 times before I even think about going on. And I am going to stamp this at least twice. So 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. And let's just see. Get a couple other places. There we go. Now I'm going to take our flower image and stamp it over this. There we go. It will fade a little bit, as you can see it compared to this one here. It will fade a little bit and not look as bright. And then I'm going to take my thanks and I'm going to stamp that right on the bottom. There we go. So this one is so much easier, less steps than the first one. So I'm going to put this on. There is just a tiny edge of the green on this card, so it just pops out some of that color that we had from the Designer Series paper. So these are the 2 cards we made tonight, 2 fun folds. I hope you enjoyed both of them, and I will be back Friday night with a new fun fold for Fun Fold Friday, and of course I'll be back on Sunday night with a new stamp set for the month of July. And I think I'm going to go with a stamp set that would be unpredictable for me. I'm not going to use florals. I'm going to use something a little different. And I think you'll enjoy everything I have in store for you for next month. Thank you for joining me tonight, whether you joined me on the live, on the Facebook replay, or on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like my page, follow my page, and subscribe to my channel. It's a big way that you can help a small business. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Good night, everybody.